Hey guys, it's Heidi again and welcome back to this week's episode of Baby Names Sunday. Today I am so excited to share with you guys my list of whimsical baby names. So a few weeks ago, if you guys missed the video, I'll have it linked down below, but a few weeks ago I actually uploaded a video full of your whimsical baby names, and oh my word, it was such a hot video and everybody was absolutely loving it. And I did let you guys know that in a few weeks from then, I would upload my own whimsical baby list. So today is the day I'm gonna do that. But if this is your first time here or you've watched a few of my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscription button down below, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos. It's absolutely free and it would mean so much to me. Also, go check me out over on Instagram. I'll have my handle right here, also down in the description. But let's get into this video because I'm so excited to share these names with you. All right, so today I'm gonna start off on the girl side, but I'm actually gonna start off with like a name combo. So a first name and a middle name that definitely just all together sounds whimsical to me. So first off, I had the name Swan, but I was like, we need a little bit more oomph with this. I wanted to kind of portray it in a way where you guys can really visualize it for a little girl. So Davian was coming across some names and he really loved the name ALLEGRA. So we put it together and we came up with ALLEGRA Swan. I honestly fell in love with it, and this was actually the very first name that Davian ever was like, oh, we're not having another girl, we're not having any more kids, but if we ever had another child and I had a girl, like this would be her name. And that is so rare for him to like find a name like that and to say that out loud. The name Allegra is Italian originated, meaning joyous, happy, and lively. And then Swan, just to me, obviously it's a nature bird name, but to me a swan symbolizes grace and elegance, that feminine feel to a name. But it also reminds me and gives me the feeling like when I close my eyes, I think of a ballerina. I think of a ballet dancer just carrying herself with grace and just very poised. And then Swan just gives it that extra oomph to the name, especially because Allegra is very vintage, a little bit more old-fashioned and classic. It definitely carries well and it's definitely usable. Moving on to my second girl's name on this list, and then I'll move on to a boy's name. But this one, I'm gonna give you two names because it's kind of like a two-parter, but that is the name KHALEESI, so spelled KHALEESI. Oh my word. Honestly, okay, Davian watches Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones whatsoever. For those of you who don't know, KHALEESI is like the main girl character in Game of Thrones. Every single time I hear it, here and there, whenever Davian's watching the series, it always catches my attention just because it sounds like an absolute goddess's name, a medieval goddess's name to me. It really is just so beautiful, very feminine, but behind it, she is like a leader. She's like a woman of power. The actual name KHALEESI was a modern invented name by the actual author of the book series, and it's Dothraki, I believe what it's called, which is like a language or the group of people who she is basically the queen of. KHALEESI actually means queen, so they call her their KHALEESI. And I didn't know that because I literally thought it was her name, but I thought this was such a beautiful name if you want your child to have those kind of queen roots or the meaning to be queen without calling her queen or queenie. But in the series, her actual name is not KHALEESI, so this is the second name that I'm gonna give you guys, which is the name Daenerys. It's spelled D-A-E-N-E-R-Y-S. And that is what her actual name is. It's also another modern invented name. It could mean Lady of Light or Lady of Hope is what I was reading up on. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but Daenerys, ooh, that one's a really pretty one if you're not wanting something super, super girly, but KHALEESI honestly took my heart. The next name that I have for you is actually an English word name and it's a boy's name, and that is the name Legend. So spelled L-E-N-G-E-N-D. The meaning behind legend is basically like a historical story that hasn't been proven yet. So like a myth or just something that hasn't been authenticated. And I really like that. It falls along the same lines as like story for a girl or saga or fable. It falls into that category, and I really, really like this, especially if you are into books or you're a bookworm. I feel feel like this is so suitable and definitely very whimsical feeling. It also does have that modern, cool aspect to it as well, because legend itself is also a word name to describe someone who is notorious or someone who's very memorable. They were like a legend. And I thought that meaning for a boy would be really powerful in a way. And for those names, they're definitely very bold, very masculine, but I feel like for a boy, it just suits it so perfectly. And then now moving back over to the girl side, this one, honestly, for girls, this is in my top names right now, but that is the name Polaris. So spelled P-O-L-A-R-I-S. And I kind of gave, because obviously Polaris, it could, sometimes some people might not think it's very feminine. So I did add in Polaria, so spelled P-O-L-A-R-I-A. And I thought that would be a really great, more feminine touch to the name Polaris. But personally, I would totally go for Polaris. I think it is just giving that celestial sky kind of feel to me. The name Polaris is derived from the Latin word meaning pole star, and it is known as the brightest star in the constellation Ursa Minor. It's more commonly known as the North Star. So a little fun fact, the Old English name for Polaris, or the North Star, was actually Sip Stiora, translating it to ship star, and majority of the time that star was used for navigation purposes. It ties nautical and celestial together, so I am just even loving it even more, and that's something I didn't know. That's what I really love about looking up different backgrounds on different names. It all of a sudden comes up with a whole list of new meanings and history behind the name, and that's something that's really cool. So even for sibling names, you could totally go for Atlas and Polaris. Like, how freaking cool would that be? I don't know, that's just something that first came to mind, Atlas and Polaris. And then the next name I have here is another boy's name, and this one falls into the same category as legend, and this is the name Novel. This is spelled N-O-V-E-L. This one I find is just so cool because it kind of symbolizes to me, especially if you're naming a little boy and they start growing up into a man, it almost symbolizes like a book and them writing their own story of their life. And I thought this name for a boy was just so cool. And obviously because it has those literary ties, because a novel is literally another word for the name book, it falls along those same lines as like story or fable as well. Say for instance, you got pregnant and you're so stuck on the name Story, you think it's so sweet for a girl, you can totally have an alternative route for your boy and name him Novel. And I think that's just such a handsome name. But Novel itself is a Latin originated name meaning new, so that could totally obviously represent a new baby into your family. And a little fun fact for this one, it's actually derived by the same Latin name as Nova, so it's actually the boy variation. They both mean new, so this would also be another great option for not just Story but also for Nova as well. It just has that really nice symbolism of creating your own story, creating your own novel of life. So next name I have for you guys is also a kind of two-parter. I have the name Essence, so spelled E-S-S-E-N-C-E. So obviously essence kind of means the spirit or the soul to something, the essence of something. It's also related to a perfume or something highly fragrant, the essence, the smell of something. But I've also found a Turkish name that's definitely a lot more unique, and I feel like this would be a really great option, and they sound very similar, so that's how come I'm kind of pairing them together, and that is the name ASENA, so spelled A-S-E-N-A. And again, this is Turkish originated, meaning mother of wolves. Holy, that screams whimsical, mythical creatures, kind of someone who lives in the forest, almost like a goddess, and she's the mother of the wolf, the mother of this wolf pack, the leader. And just with that symbolism of like a leader, that independence, it just signifies to me a really strong and empowering name for a girl, especially for a female all the way up. The next name that I have for you guys now is back over on the boy side, and that is the name Arkin. so spelled ARKYN. This one has such a powerful history and meaning behind it, and honestly, I am just absolutely loving it. It's actually a Norse name meaning eternal king's son. Basically refers you as a forever prince. I like that aspect of it, especially when you pair it with something really strong for a middle name. I thought of Archon Alexander because Alexander literally means defender or protector of mankind, and I think that 3-syllable or even 4-syllable middle names for this one just sounds so nicely and just flows off the tongue so well. And I also did find out that single syllable names that have a really short and curt ending sound really nicely with Archon. I thought of Archon, I thought of Ark, and it reminded me of Noah's Ark. And obviously Noah's Ark, he wanted to get all of the animals as he could. He took 2 of each animal to get on to the ark to save them. And I thought of the name Fox, so like Archon Fox for a middle name, and I thought that just had such a cool, that curt ending with the X. And then speaking of animal inspiration, I have another boy's name for you guys, and that is the name ESBEN, so spelled E-S-B-E-N. This one I find is just very adorable, and the meaning behind it is powerful. So the name ESBEN is derived from Asbjorn. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, A-S-B-J-O-R-N. And Asa means God, and Bjorn means bear. So when you put it together, ESBEN means bear god. This was just beyond powerful for just the sweetest sounding name. So ESBEN is a Scandinavian originated name, but the meaning behind a bear, the symbolism, is so amazing, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. What does a bear symbolize? I will tell you. A bear symbolizes protection, courage, and also a spirit helper to restore harmony and balance to heal. And I feel like these are just such great qualities for a boy all the way up to a man. Just in the future, if they end up being in a relationship, they're the protector of their family. You can still have the nickname Ez, Ezzy, or even Ben or Benny, but I really like that for another really strong meaning behind a boy. And so moving on to our next name is a girl's name, and this one is very dreamy to me. And that is the name Clary, so spelled C-L-A-R-Y. So this one's actually a Latin originated name meaning bright and famous, but it's actually a derivative of the name Claire and Clara. So it does have some vintage roots to it as well, but just with a modern, whimsical sound to it. Like, to me, the name Clary, if you close your eyes, it reminds me of like clear skies and like an open mind. Very dreamy of a name. And I was also thinking it could for surely be a modern honorary name for a Clara in your family or even a Claire in your family. And then the next name for the boy side that I have for you guys is the name Bardal, so spelled B-A-R-D-H-Y-L. This one is so handsome and it's full of culture. It's actually an Albanian originated name, and it's derived from the Illyrian name Bardalus, which was actually the name of a king back all the way in 393 BC. And the actual meaning of Bardal is white star. If you take bard means white and ul means star. So together it means white star. But I'm loving how this was a king's name all the way in a completely different country on the other side of the world way back in the day. The actual king, he lived to be over 90 years old. And back in 393 BC, that was like unheard of. So it kind of made him quite famous. He was super powerful. Him and his people really took over a lot of lands, and there was just a lot of history with this guy. And I love the name Bardal. I think it's super handsome. It has that culture and exotic aspect to it, especially for it being a name that I've never heard of here. And I really like that. I love pulling names from different cultures, especially with the history behind them. And then moving back over to the girl side, this one is definitely very whimsical with the meaning. This is the name Parisa, so spelled P-A-R-I-S-A. You can nickname her Paris. And this one's a Persian originated name meaning like a fairy. And it sounds like that, Parisa, like a fairy. Like, it's very feminine, super girly. And the meaning behind the name isn't just whimsical, it's actually the history behind it. It comes from an old ancient Persian name called Parasatis. And that is a very old Persian, ancient Persian name. And I thought that was really pretty how they kind of modernize it, Parisa. It just rolls off the tongue really nicely with that A ending. And then on to my next name here. It's a boy's name. And this one reminds me of Aries' middle name, Orion. This is the name Arion. So spelled A-R-I-O-N. It's a Greek originated name, meaning a Greek poet or musician. But in Greek mythology, Arion was actually the name of a magical horse born to Poseidon and Demeter. I love it because it's a Greek mythological name, which I have actually never heard of. I love names that have those really cool Greek myths behind them. It has really cool nicknames as well. There's Ari, A-R-I, or you can do Ion, I-O-N for a nickname as well. And I thought that was kind of unique. But another little fun fact of Arion, he wasn't just a magical horse. He apparently talked, and he was actually known for musical inventions. All right, so we are down to our final 3 names on the list. This next one, I know you guys are gonna love. It's a girl's name, and that is the name Delphine. So spelled D-E-L-P-H-I-N-E. So this one's also another French originated from Greek, meaning dolphin. So I thought that was really cute. I've actually seen this a few times on some whimsical lists on Instagram, but not actually on YouTube yet. So I thought I would add this one. I love it because you can give it that nickname Delphi. I think it's just such an adorable nickname, and with those animal inspiration behind it, literally meaning dolphin, I love how it can be a girl's name, but it's an animal inspired girl's name, which is really hard to come by. Let me know what your favorite animal inspired girls' names are. Let me know. So this one actually has quite a variety of inspiration behind it. It is the name basically of a flower, the delphinium, which is very similar to a bluebell. It's also a place inspired name, so inspired by the city of Delphi, which the Greeks believed to be the womb of the earth. So it has some spiritual energy behind the name as well, but I know that a lot of you guys absolutely love this one, on Instagram especially. But the second to last name now that I have for you guys is a boy's name, and this one is Japanese originated, and it's the name Ryu. So spelled R-Y-U, or the U also has the line over top of it, Ryu. I love this. The meaning behind it is dragon. Majority of people, as soon as they hear the name Ryu, they associate it with the Street Fighter character, the video game Ryu. But the dragon in Japanese culture is a symbol of balance, freedom, and good luck. The symbolism behind the name, I just thought it was really powerful, and I feel like it just brings a really great aura above a baby being born into the world, especially for a little boy. It has some really great characteristics. They're positive energy. So I thought this was a very lucky little boy's name. All right, so we are down to our very final name on the list. Zayla wanted to join me. For those of you who don't know, here's my daughter, Zayla. Say hi.
Hi. Woo.
All right, so our very final name on the list is a girl's name. Super pretty and definitely has a futuristic ring to it, but that is the name Zelenia. So spelled Z-E-L-E-N-I-A. So this one's a Greek originated name, and it's like a Greek twist on the name Selene, which is the goddess of the moon. And Selene is actually the sister of Helios, which was the sun god. And I am loving all of the nicknames of this one. You have Lenia, you have Zel, you have Lenny, and you even have Zelen, like Z-E-L-E-N, which I thought was kind of cool. And just thinking of Zelen, I feel like it sounds like Helen, so maybe Zelenia could even be an honorary name for a Helen in your family. I thought it was just so futuristic, and it definitely sounds whimsical, but it has those goddess inspiration behind it, and that's why I love it. But we are gonna say bye now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what your favorite whimsical name was on this list, and also comment down below all of your favorite whimsical inspired names if I didn't mention any of them. I know that there are a ton of fun ones out there, but these are just a few that I absolutely love. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week with another baby names video. Bye!
Thank you for my mom's video. Bye!
Bye!